I'm joined on the set by India expert and journalist Ingrid Therwath. Ingrid, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us.
Thank you.
If 20 other Muslim countries, as we just heard, had banned this practice, including one of the most conservative, Saudi Arabia, why did it take India so long?
Well, Indian women have been advocating for this change for decades now. So it's not a new debate in India at all. But it took one particular woman to actually change things. Her name is Shayara Bano. She's 35-year-old, and she was abandoned by her husband 15 years ago. She went for medical treatment to another state, and he pronounced those three words, Talaq, 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 repudiated her, and she petitioned the Supreme Court, and she said, the point was not that it was unfair or that there was no ground for divorce. It was that this very divorce violated her fundamental rights as an Indian citizen. The fundamental rights are inscribed in the Constitution at the very beginning of the Indian Constitution, and they are actually, in effect, the backbone of not only the Indian legal system, but of the Indian democracy. So this is why this is such a landmark ruling.
How involved was the Prime Minister, who's a Hindu in this case?
Mm-hmm. Well, he wasn't that involved. It took a lot of advocates, a lot of lawyers, and a very large movement of women to get this ruling done, this ruling passed. So, now it's being recuperated by a very anti-Muslim government. Yeah.
Were there several religions working together to try and fix this rule that concerns Muslim women?
Well, the decision of the Supreme Court this ruling was passed by 5 judges. One was Christian, one was Muslim, one was Hindu, another one was Sikh, and another one was Parsi, Zoroastrian. And this new decision passed by 3 votes against 2. And we don't know which ones voted for and which ones voted against. But there is something quite consensual about it. And the mood in India today is that of joy and relief. It's a very good step for women and Muslim women in India. This phenomenon of the triple talaq became really very difficult to manage, particularly with the new technology. Some men, of course, a very small minority, but still, used Facebook or WhatsApp or Skype even to pronounce those 3 words and, in effect, repudiate their wives. And this is not in the Quran, this is not in the Sharia, and this is certainly not in the Indian Constitution. So,
how prevalent was the triple talaq? You mentioned these people using Skype and WhatsApp. Do we have any numbers, or how many women were actually affected by this?
I'm not actually sure about the exact numbers. But there are many stories about this triple talaq. There was a story a couple of years ago. Of course, it's very sensational, and the media like to talk about it a bit. But there was a story of a man who actually said those 3 words in his sleep to his wife, and so they couldn't live together anymore. She had to marry another man, consummate the wedding with this other man, in order to be able to remarry her own husband, who hadn't even intended to repudiate her. So it's completely absurd. But there are many other laws that need to be changed in India, and many other practices. Now you have the law and you have the application of the law, the enforcement of the law, but there are a number of practices that really need...
Well, that was going to be my last question. This is a landmark decision, a landmark move for women's rights. How much farther does India have to go for true gender equality?
So much further. I was looking at the figures of crimes against women. The number of crimes against women has increased by more than 50% over the last 5 years. Acid attacks, which happen in large numbers, have only been declared a crime punishable by prison in 2013, and the rapes, the rape rates in Delhi, in the capital city of India, have increased by 277% over the last 5 years. So a lot needs to be done, and a lot is being done, not so much by the political power, but by civil society.
Ingrid, thank you so much for coming in and speaking to us.
Thank
India
you.
specialist Ingrid Therwath. Thank you so much.